Jacqueline Junger was born November 29th, 1934. She was living in Bordeaux, France, with her parents and her little brother. On August 31st, 1942, they were picked up by the Nazis and taken in Convoy 26 to Auschwitz. She, along with her brother, were gassed on arrival with 961 other children. When I think about this, she was 8 years old when she was murdered. And I know at 8, that was the age when my parents asked me if I wanted to have a bar or bat mitzvah. And I said no at the time. I didn't understand the significance of having a bat mitzvah. And I just think that for Jacqueline, living in her Jewish community, she would have known the significance of a bat mitzvah. She probably would have been looking forward to it. And she probably would have already been studying Hebrew and the Torah and all the things that go into having a bat mitzvah. But the choice to have a bat mitzvah was taken away from her. And she never had the opportunity to become a woman in the Jewish faith. And so in honor of her, I'm going to be taking Jacqueline as my Jewish name. Jacqueline is a feminine form of Jacques. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But it's the French name for Jacob. And in Hebrew, that means may God protect. So today I'm really excited to be taking on that name.
Mazal tov!
Mazal
Yay! I've already been bat mitzvahed, but for me, being in front of the kotel and doing this in Yerushalayim is such a big deal. I have a song that I'd like to sing about how being here and being Jewish, it gives you a sense of community and love, and you will never be alone. Okay. I've been alone, surrounded by darkness. I've seen how heartless the world can be. Yeah, I've seen you crying. You felt like it's hopeless. I'll always do my best to make you see that, baby, you're not alone, 'cause you're here with me. And nothing's ever gonna bring us down, 'cause nothing can keep me from loving you. And you know it's true. Don't matter what our love will be, our love is all we need to bring us through.
Hey!
Alright, so those are tough ones to follow. I chose my name, and that was Ezra for helper. So I had someone actually send me a little speech. It's kind of about helping. It is not mine. It was a segment from some essay written by Lauren Isley, but it's meaningful. I appreciate it. While wandering a deserted beach at dawn, stagnant in my work, I saw a man in the distance, bending and throwing, as he walked the endless stretch towards me. As he came near, I could see that he was throwing starfish, abandoned on the sand by the tide, back into the sea. When he was close enough, I asked him why he was working so hard at this strange task. He said that the sun would dry the starfish, and they would die. I said to him that I thought he was foolish. There were thousands of starfish on miles and miles of beach. One person alone could never make a difference. He smiled as he picked up the next starfish. Hurling it far into the sea, he said, "It makes a difference for this one." So I abandoned my work and spent the morning throwing starfish.
The Hebrew name that I chose is Kokava, and that means star. And it's something that I thought I wanted something to relate to what I do and my passion in life, so I chose star. And the excerpt that I'm going to read is from a poem called Desiderata. It's written by an American poet named Max Ehrman. And it says, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him or her to be or not to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its shams, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy.
I picked my Hebrew name to be Miriam, which a couple people helped me pick based on a list of stuff that I wrote that described my personality, but the ironic thing is that Amy threw that name out at me before knowing that it was also my grandmother's name. So that's my name. And I looked up my Torah portion, which was Lech Lecha, and I'm going to read an interpretation that spoke to me about it. This journey is no longer about Avram's personal growth and advancement alone. This journey is about the impact that he and his choices make on every person in his life, his household, and ultimately the world. That the covenant between God and all males in his burgeoning new people is the act of circumcision reminds us that often the most important and painful choices are not readily visible to outsiders. The effects that each of our choices have in the world may be hidden in hidden places, not easily discerned, and yet are nonetheless deeply meaningful and significant. Avram is our first Jewish role model, not because he accepts the charge to go on a personal journey. Rather, his journey involves a progression from the personal to the community, from a focus on his own benefit to an inclusion paradigm, one that invites in the stranger, that considers the welfare of people beyond himself and his choices. May we all be Bnei Avraham in this way, striving towards greater community, and how each of our choices on our journeys ripples out beyond ourselves and makes a difference to other people, to the world, and to God. And based on that, I know that in the U.S., and I'm not sure here, but it's a big part of your bar and bat mitzvahs to pick something to give back to the community. And so in honor of this, I have chosen to make a commitment to volunteer at a house at home that helps provide children with intellectual disabilities and their family with support, so that when kids who have mental disabilities, if their parents need a break for a weekend or a week, these kids have a safe place to go where they know they'll be taken care of.
Okay. By now you guys know that I'm a crier, so it's going to happen. So when I was young, I have a learning disability, so that made learning Hebrew like nearly impossible for me. So my parents made the decision to not have me go through Hebrew school. But I was given a name when I was born, which is Zeava, which means wolf, because my mom wanted me to have a wolf-like personality, I guess. But so this is a really exciting deal for me. So I'm going to read a poem that I read right before I came here, and it's really beautiful, and I didn't realize the gravity of it until I actually came here. So this poem was written in June of 1967 here in Jerusalem by Rabbi Daniel F. Chiet, and it goes like this. Who'd have dare shaped the thought that we would come again to this antique rubble, and that some definition of ourselves would grope its way from these stones, that there was a backbone to the body of our memories, and that we could trace that backbone here, in this eroded rock, that millennia would not rob us of the longing to stand here, just here, by this boat of Jerusalem.
So my Hebrew name is Ephraim. Just to give a little background on the name, the meaning of it is fruitful and bountiful. Separate from the actual meaning of the name, I took the first letter from two very important men in my life, my dad and Aaron's dad, whose middle name is Edward, and my middle name is Frank. So the Ephraim kind of makes sense and really fit the occasion of my conversion. So I'm just going to read through a narrative of how I've come to the conversion process to get to where I am today. As many of you know, from the past 10 days, I converted to Judaism last year. This decision was long and thought out, but the 18 months of the formal conversion process were nothing but great. Aaron and I both took a Judaism class and a Hebrew language class at Addis Israel Synagogue in DC, close to our home. And we really enjoyed the time spent together learning about something we both feel so close and so connected with. Long before the decision to convert, we practiced Jewish traditions, participated in traditions and holidays, and laid the foundation for our future. I never really gave this thought as a child. I just knew we never went to Sunday school, didn't go to Mass on Fridays or church on Sunday mornings, and never really talked about religion or had religious symbols around the house. Thinking about this now, I still cannot believe how kind and thoughtful my mother was for allowing me to make this decision on my own. Like for many, it would have been very easy for my parents to start going to church when I was old enough to know what was going on, to attend Sunday school on a regular basis, get christened a few years later, and then never return. For some reason, and I'm still not exactly sure of that reason, this is what my mother chose for me, and she knew exactly what she was doing. The very first time I participated in a Jewish event was at Pesach with the family of my best friend from college, Matt. Before the first Seder, Matt asked that I bring a bottle of kosher wine. So, of course, waiting until the first day of Pesach, I went to the wine store in DC to only find that every single bottle of kosher wine had been sold. When I showed up and explained that there was no kosher wine in all of DC, Rockville, or Bethesda, Matt's dad politely placed a kippah on top of the bottle of Kendall Jackson and said, "Now we have kosher wine." Knowing for certain that this wasn't really the case, it really comforted me that his family was welcoming me into their home on their religious holiday, no matter what I did or didn't bring, with open arms. On that same night, I happened to be the youngest at the table, so I did a lot of reading from the Haggadah. I often think about this story when I think about the many good things that draw me to Judaism as a religion. The root of the holiday is always the underlying tone, and it's often brought up in conversation. There's always humor involved, and there's always a happy gathering of family and friends. Following this experience and the 5 years of Jewish immersion since, I really made the Jewish community in the DC area my home. We go to synagogue at Bnei in Potomac, Maryland, celebrate the holidays with Erin and her entire family, keep a semi-kosher home, and really take to heart the traditions and values of all Jewish people. During the whole conversion process, none of my family or friends ever asked me, "Why do you want to be Jewish?" At the beginning of the entire process, I thought I was going to be fielding this question over and over and over again. Other than it being a pretty straightforward question that may make some people uncomfortable, both the person asking and the person answering, myself, I think that people really see this as a right fit for me, and the fact that I have 100% support from my entire family and my entire network of friends means more than anything. As a convert, I have been more than warmly welcomed into the religion and helped along the way. This trip is just one example of that. As many of you know, I'm a little over the age limit for Taglit Birthright. Prior to applying, I sent what I thought to be a far-reaching email explaining my religious background, my conversion story, and my plans for a Jewish life and a Jewish home in the future. Within 10 minutes, I received an email back from Taglit giving me the authorization to go on this trip during this winter. 10 minutes, what a gracious and thoughtful gift for the new kid on the Jewish roster. While Aaron's family and all of our friends have been more than amazing at enhancing my Jewish experience, coming to Israel has really been the icing on the cake, or should I say, the lox on my bagel, or the hummus on our pita. By being able to experience this wonderful country with all of you, I'm able to find my place in the Jewish community of DC, know where I stand in the Jewish state of Israel, and can begin creating Jason's Jewish life. Before I converted, I said that I wanted to know what Jewish people's connection with Israel was. By being able to come on this trip, I was able to see what Israel offers to Jewish people around the world. I'm able to see how the IDF protects our Jewish home and our Jewish people. I was able to revisit the history that created our Jewish land. I was able to question and converse on topics of what it meant to be a Jew. I was able to see what our ancestors have been through to get us here where we are today. And most importantly, I was able to do all of that with you. I wanted to end with a quote from Ruth, a Jewish convert from the Torah, who said, "Wherever you will go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried." The past 10 days has been an amazing experience for me, and I hope it was for everyone else here as well. All of us, very different from one another, has had the chance to laugh, cry, scream, sing, eat, drink, and even dance with one another. Throughout the rest of our lives, like Ruth, I hope to go places with all of you, live in the same community as you, travel with you, be a Jew with you, and celebrate with you, much like we are doing here on my bar mitzvah. It means more than many of you will ever know to be given this amazing opportunity, and I cannot think of a better way to be spending our last evening together. So mazel tov to my fellow Bnei Mitzvah brothers and sisters. I'm so excited to be standing up here with you, and then each and every one of everyone else.
That is a tough speech to follow. I do not have something nearly as thoughtful or quite as detailed, but the name I chose is Ayelet, which means morning star. And the reason I'm doing this is because I never got the opportunity to have a bat mitzvah. I did have the option, however, when I was younger, and I didn't really understand the significance of it at the time. My family is half Jewish, so I've never really felt that connected to the faith or the religion. And the one person in my family that was really connected to it was my grandfather. And unfortunately, in 2008, he passed away. And I was very, very close with him. And I always felt like he was a little disappointed that I didn't do this. So even though he's no longer here and isn't here to see this, I hope that wherever he is, he's proud that I'm doing it. So, cheers.
Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, bnei mitzvah. This is a commitment. We just committed to these people, and this commitment we expect you to uphold. Let me end by something that the Kohanim used to say right here at the Western Wall. And a father says to his son, family says to one another, the blessing of the priest. יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. May God put you in His grace. May He protect you. May He bring peace to each and every one of you. Mazal tov.
Cinnamon toast, cinnamon toast with mazel tov, mazel tov with cinnamon toast with mazel tov, mazel tov with cinnamon toast. Let me get back mazel tov.